Just put on the microphone so y'all can hear me better. So we'll be reading out of my husband's girlfriend, and it's a pretty good book. I read it years ago. I did not finish it, so I'm gonna start all over again with you all. So if you have headphones, go ahead. It's a good time to put some headphones in. Grab you a snack. You about to listen to Crystal. I'll probably give you probably 20 to 30 minutes. Probably 10 minutes because we all have a little ADHD. So let me go ahead and start, okay? And this is chapter one. We're starting with chapter one, the beginning of the book. So let's go. A celibate husband and wife are the two most dangerous people on earth. That's my husband Neil told me 1 year ago when our nightmare began. I guess at the time I didn't believe him, but right now, sitting by the phone waiting for Neil to call me from the hospital and tell me the gender of the baby he's having with her, well, I believe him. Lack of affection and regular sex within a marriage is like having a ticking bomb strapped to your body. You only have so much time before something explosive shatters your whole world. How did we get to this point? Approximately 2 years ago, I'll be at home slumped on the couch, lost in the zone. Neil was swaggering to the den, looking like a taller, thinner, less insane version of Mike Tyson. Beautiful chestnut complexion, intense eyes, and fine in his own kind of way. Neil would stand next to me, starting stuff, swaying his hips back and forth, singing low, and then he'll sit down, getting close enough to press his lips against my neck. Can you hear me now? I hope my microphone's not going dead. Um okay, where were we? Happy thing inside my tense butt. I reached behind my back, gripped him, and I bucked, cursed, pressed my half inch I'm taking the microphone off because my microphone is going dead. I think that's what's going on. My apologies to you all that's listening to me. Okay, asking how to blah, 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 blah. Let me see. Let me find my spot before I read that one more time. Not realizing how much I ate to escape back downstairs to try to catch the end of my show, but I said nothing. I let Neil do his business. And on a few occasions after that night, I continued to do my duty, letting Neil have an ample supply of sympathy sex until the last time we did it. Until the last day we officially became celibate. Neil and I were spread out on a huge, colorful rug on the floor next to the bed. I was lying on my back. My legs were like a clothes hanger curled around his neck. He was jumping around and slapping my behind, having a jolly good time until he noticed that I had seized the nearby cable guy, pursuing it for a worthwhile pay per view movie. He scrunched up his face. Screw it. Screw this mess. Yeah, I'm sorry, because he gets in his feelings. He said he physically slipped out of me, left me alone on the floor. I wondered if I eventually slipped out of his heart and his mind too. I became terrified. That's when I knew something had to give, that our marriage was in the balance. Things might never be good again if I didn't figure out what to do. Intimacy, closeness, feeling each other, little by little, all those necessary acts disappeared from our relationship. Yet I loved Neil. Couldn't imagine being without him. When Neil wasn't in the room with me, I wondered where he was. When I thought of his spellbinding fragrance, his smile, and how he is good at taking care of his family, that kept me drawn to him in spite of everything. Fast forward to now. These days, I have to keep myself from stressing about the new addition to the family. If it weren't for, I'm gonna say Shay, because I'm not gonna say her name the whole time, y'all. I'm gonna call her Shay. My sister in law, I don't know what I'll do. She's Neil's half sister, and ever since their 60-year-old mother pointed at their front door and told the girl to get the hell out, she's been living with us here in Houston. It isn't, oh, yeah, sorry, it isn't too bad. Shay is great company, plus, she has my back, which is imperative because that's the only way I would allow her to live with us. She's sitting here with me right now. We're in the downstairs den. The room has lots of tall windows, and normally that means sunshine fills in from one wall to the other. But today it's cloudy, so the room is dark, but given the circumstances, the darkness kind of complements the mood. I'm rocking back and forth in my seat. My right hand is clutching the portable phone like it might run away. Shay is patting my left hand. She's stroking my skin, rubbing me greatly, and acting like I'm the one about to give birth instead of Neil's other woman. I can't stand the thought of her, Neil's mistress. I guess because, like a dummy, I've created her. Because of me, she is. If I hadn't encouraged my husband to find a sex partner, he wouldn't have done it. I know he wouldn't. He's a good man. He loves me. In spite of this other baby, that's about to end of the world. I know Neil Braxton Meadows love me. Right now, Shay is grasping my hand and shaking her head, stopping and shaking it again. I can't stand to look at Vet, which is her nickname. Sometimes her body language speaks as loud as her voice. So I stare in my lap, looking inwardly at my life. I don't like what I see. Well, I don't care what gender the little bastard turns out to be. Reese is gonna always be my favorite niece. And that's all I I have to say, I smile. Shay is astounding. She's family, my higher ground, a reliable anchor. Because the Negro shouldn't have been messing around on you in the first place. I don't care if y'all threw up that little sex contract. Oh, she said, I don't care if y'all drew up that little sex contract. I don't care that both of y'all signed it. He should have known better to even consider that dumb shit. Cause if my brother really loved you, he'd she hushed like her conscience kicked in. But I hadn't done anything to give her a reason to shut up. I know a man can love his wife and think to give and still do foolish things, like making passes to other women while he's standing 2 feet away from his wife, or visiting a woman who lives in the same apartment complex as him and the missus, or telling his lover he isn't happy at home, but at the same time telling home he's not happy having a lover. That's what some men do. I know this, and outrageous as it sounds, that's why I pressured Neil into trying something I thought might work. This deal is this. In addition of balconying whenever Neil wanted to experiment with these painful new positions, I was struggling with a couple other issues that further complicated our sex life. For one, I was prescribed with having FSAD. What's that, y'all? Don't know. An acronym for female sexual arousal disorder, which basically means I have a low sex drive, about as low as a dead person's. If you're lucky, you might be able to generate some sexual desires, but the drawback is you rarely get satisfied because wasn't your body won't lubricate. Orgasms are as rare as a San Antonio blizzard, and you can also suffer from deep. What is these words? I'm not a doctor, which means sex is too painful to enjoy. Hallelujah. I found out I'm not alone. FSAD is a condition that affects 47 million American women for a variety of reasons. And to date, there is no approved drug to treat this disorder. So even if my delicious smelling hubby fondles me and gives me the eye, my interest in getting it on fades many nights. Sometimes my lack of desire rattles me, but the truth is I don't terribly miss having orgasms. If I have them, fine. If I don't, it really don't matter. Of course, this isn't fair to Neil, but my hormones don't seem to care. To make things worse, I've gained a good 25 pounds in the past 5 years. I'm 37 years old, and my transformed body seldom lets me forget. But yes, I've signed up for the state of the art fitness center memberships. I bought the useless Paula do workout tapes. Useless because 2 weeks after being gung ho about exercising and getting my fried chicken loving self back in shape, the only sit ups I do are when I sit up in bed so I can grab a decadent, okay, chocolate chip cookie that's calling to me from a nearby table. And although I don't consider myself the most unattractive woman in the world, I really feel uncomfortable when Neil takes long looks at me. I'm afraid he'll see my imperfections. Like I'm not everything he expects me to be. So about a year ago, I walked into our home library unannounced. Neil looked up, eyes enlarged, and yelled, Anaya, not now, not now. He was sitting on the edge of the sofa, naked from the waist down, his dick clutched in his hand, with an unbearable look in his eyes. He grabbed his legs and clumsily spread them across his lap. I backed up until I was no longer in the room witnessing what I'd driven my husband to do. I felt bad. Not bad enough to let him make love to me whenever he was in the mood, which was often. When I realized our sexless streak had stretched to 2 years, I thought about what I could do to help the situation. And one day, I took a deep breath and blurted, Neil, why don't you find a partner? Find a woman you can have sex with 2 times a month, no strings attached. But if you agree to do this, you've got to promise me something. What's that? Neil said, stunned. He was stunned. Say, promise me you won't fall in love. Said, that's your end only for the sex. Are you crazy? No, baby, not crazy. I love you. I told him sincerely. I loved him enough to trust him to do something that didn't seem like a big deal at the time. Sure, encouraging your hubby to have sex with another woman is something many wives wouldn't do. But I thought if I controlled that situation as opposed to letting him take charge of an affair, maybe the outcome wouldn't be as disastrous. My bad, yeah. Plus, I knew that even if Neil didn't totally understand me, I was certain that he loved me. He was a great, reliable husband, thoughtful, and a superb dad. I guess the word. And since mostly everything else in our marriage was decent, why break up just because of sex? So I asked Neil to give this arrangement a try. I reasoned that as long as he didn't grow attached to the woman, we stuck to our promises, the arrangement could succeed. So, the marriage arrangement of Neil Braxton Meadows and his wife Anaya. So, one, Neil should seek and find a single, unattachable female sex partner. Two, they should only have oral sex, no penetration. Giving and receiving are permissible. Three, yes, this is in a book. Three, no falling in love with her. If she falls in love with Neil, he should end the relationship quickly and respectfully. And then four, Anaya will never accuse Neil of committing adultery because this entire plan was her idea. I made up numbers one, two, and three, and I made up the first part of number four. But Neil insisted I mention in italics that the idea was mine. I thought it was unnecessary to add that part, but I didn't agree. I didn't argue. I gave in so he could feel better, so we could move on. Neil and I stuck the unassigned arrangement in a drawer for 1 week so we could both think about it. And we debated the issue until we agreed that oral sex isn't true sex. Whether middle schoolers, college guys, or senior citizens, plenty of men get blowjobs. The act means nothing to them. Besides, are there any stats on on many men falling in love with blowjobbing women? I thought Neil could share his body without handing over his heart. So we retrieved the document and signed. I signed first and I locked it inside a file cabinet located downstairs. My biggest concern at the time was making sure Neil believed I was serious. I was, and I still am. Damn, what's taking my brother so long? Shay, let go of my hand. I now feel abandoned, but understand her anxiety. She stands up, walks across the length of our den, and comes right back and sits at my feet. Vet has recently added blonde highlights to her brown hair. Her hair is teased and wild looking, the long strands touching her shoulders and making her look older than 20. These things take time, sweetie, I assured her. The lady's only been at the hospital 6 hours. He'll call. My voice sound light and airy. Me trying to be positive and mature. Who the heck am I kidding? If it weren't for the fact that in Texas murder means a trip to death row, I have already handled that fool. But I need to stay in control. I cannot kill my husband or his mistress just because he broke our contract. Even if he couldn't keep his word, At least one of us should. I don't see how you could take it, Anaya. Vet whispers. She looks at me long enough to force me to stare into her light green eyes. Her skin is glowing, bronze toned, and blemish free. I hope this young woman can look at my marriage and learn from it. Learn what not to do. Learn that marriage ain't nothing nice. And even if things are shaky within the marriage, a legally bond, legally bond relationship isn't easy to terminate. Not as easy as folks Goodness, not as easy as folks the native ones think. The naive ones, I'm sorry, not native. If I ever get married, which I don't plan to, I first want to live with the Negro for at least 5 years just to see where his mind is, just to see if he's faking it with me or not. I laughed and crossed my legs at the ankles. I have a cute white blouse, a long blue jean skirt, and some strappy sandals that I haven't worn in years. I just feel like trying to look sexier for a change. Oh, really, Vic? And what if this dude fakes it for 5 years? You two hook up, and then he starts tipping out on you soon as he made it legal. Don't worry, I have a tight game plan in mind, sister in law. Cause see, I ain't as desperate as some of these single women out there doing anything and everything to get a man to catch a husband. They catch more than husband these days. You right about that. Marriage ain't no joke. The phone ring and hums against my hand. I just stared, breathless. It rings again. Shay eyes grew wider and she snatches the phone from my grip. Yeah, she says. She puts her hand on her hips. She right here. What you got to tell her? I look at the ceiling. Uh-oh. Okay, all right. Bye. I look at it. They just had a 7 pound, 5 ounce, 19-inch boy, Neil Braxton Meadows Jr. I couldn't sleep at all last night. I go lie down for a few minutes, sit up in bed, turn on the lamp, cut the TV off, go to the refrigerator, and pile a bunch of chilled white grapes in a bowl. I slid back in the bed and tried looking at R. Kelly music videos. When I couldn't stand looking at that anymore, I turned the TV in and watched a religious program. Jesus cares about you, this 50 some white guy said. He stared straight into the camera. His hair was greasy, looking and slick back, like he was a movie star instead of a soul winner. Jesus doesn't know me, I said to the TV, then turned it off when the man started talking about sending an $1,000 donation to God could bless me, even though God has way more money than me. If Jesus knew me, he'd see what I was going through and get me out of this situation. So I don't want to hear anything preacher man got to say. I knew my thinking wasn't the most divine. People always blame the Lord for things that go wrong in their lives. If there's a war, God started it. If people get killed in a senseless tragedy, it's the Lord's fault. Because guess who had the power to stop things but didn't? If anybody is going through anything that don't that they don't like, well, blame it on the Lord. He's used to be the fall guy. I thought. Point fingers shouldn't bother him. And although I freely believe these things, I felt justified but scared at the same time. I didn't believe that saying about how God strikes people with lightning. If that were true, a whole lot of people would be burned to a crisp on a daily basis. It would probably be raining every single minute of the day, and people would be afraid to go outside. But I did have some level of fear that if I thought inappropriate things, the Lord knew and that punished me somehow. I wondered if my troubles were his payback. Vengeance is mine, I will repay. I recalled that scripture, and I thought that if God was paying me back, then maybe I'll lurk out and he'll pay Neil back too. The morning after the baby is born, Shay cooks 6 large pancakes, scrambled eggs, and turkey sausage, and pours 2 tall glasses of pure orange juice, sets everything on a tray, and brings the food into my bedroom. I am so surprised and touched. She's thinking of me. I'm, I nearly lose my appetite, but that feeling doesn't last. I start digging in. Here you have some too. I put the spot next to me. Shay slides in the queen size bed with me. She's shoeless, sporting red shorts and a white halter top with a red bra and one strap showing. It looks so silly, but that's just it. She picks up a turkey sausage and holds it in front of her open mouth like she's about to suck something. She smirks at me, then clumps the meat like she's starving. All glistens her lips, making it appear like she's wearing clear lip gloss. We eat in silence for a minute. You actually gonna finish decorating the nursery, Anaya? I winked, but nod. I don't know about you, girl. Look, Vet, I'm not a young single woman you are. You don't understand. The yeah, say Vet, she a hot mess, okay? Vet, she wanna know too much. So she said, then explain things to me. Help me understand, Anaya, because I'm starting to think you're somebody's fool. It doesn't surprise me that you think that I'm a fool, but that's fine because you are not walking in my shoes. I have eaten 2 pancakes and I sipped some orange juice. Not that I'm terribly thirsty, but the pancakes are so thick my throat feels crammed. Like I'm choking. I slid the plate to Vet's side of the bed. I get comfy by lying next against those several pillows. And here she go. She finna tell her. Sure things are tough, I say, but I'm not up in a league deal. I'm not going to up a league deal. Like she left her husband. I'm as responsible for this situation as he is. So, bull, Anaya, create a nursery for your husband of the baby is out there. Look, Vet, it's Reese's old room. It's small, not being used for anything except storage. I'll take no time to do a little paint job, apply some decorative wall border, and pull out Reese's crib. I doubt that Neil will bring his son over here that much. Anyway, it's just in case. Yeah. Vet is starting to get on my nerves. She acts like she's the wife instead of just the sister in law. She's never been married before. How can she possibly understand? A few weeks ago, Shay voluntarily informed me that I am a fucking wimp. Those were her exact words. And I just looked at her and laughed. And she made this disgusting noise, then explained, she, you see my point? Nope, I told her. Any other person would have cussed me out in both Chinese and in Bonnie's, but you just let me call you names. Why would you do that? Do you agree with them? Let me know. Her words stung like a sharp needle, punching my skin. So I didn't say anything. Like Beth started rolling her eyes and talking to herself. She could roll her eyes until the whites disappeared. I I didn't care about her being mad. I get tired of people mistaking my silence for weakness, thinking I'm stupid, defenseless, wife who never fights. I've learned to pick my battles. And I guess Vet couldn't understand that, just like she wouldn't understand me wanting to create a nursery for Neil's son. If we have a room here, I explained to her, then Neil wouldn't have an excuse to go over there with her, right? There you go again. Why can't you say her name? Danielle, her name sounds a little like Neil. How cute. Shay says sarcastically, I jump up out the bed and balance a tray in my hand that holds my glass and a fork and an empty plate. Oh, so you wanna go? So you wanna go wash dishes now, huh? You a real trip. Shay hands me her juice glass, and I stared at it emptiness. No, I take that back, Anaya. You are a journey. So basically, that was the end of chapter one. And this book is juicy already. We heard a man wanted to experiment new things. He wanted anal sex and I don't know if I can say that online, but he wanted, he wanted backdoor sex, and I feel as though that Anaya did not want to give it to him because of her sexual desires. She lacks thereof, and so since she lacked thereof, and she's 37 years old, she feels like her husband, is being just basically malnourished from her when it comes to sex. So she's like, okay, go get you a little boo thing. Go get your little friend. But when you go and get this friend, all y'all could do, and they signed the contract, all they could do is have oral sex amongst each other. It could, it can't be penetration. So of course, Anaya finding out that her husband is having a son only puts two and two together of him, breaching the contract, in which at this point she's okay with it because she was the one that initiated the contract in the first place because she felt sorry for her husband. So again, that's chapter one. I'm gonna stop there so we can be on the same page. This is a real book. I think that if you're anything like my mind, if your mind agrees like my mind agrees that these type of books and these type of novels are like kind of realistic, but at the same time put a little fictional in it, then you will enjoy this. This book because it's a really really good book. That's why I'm just gonna do chapter one, and I'm just gonna, I guess, go live and do it by chapters. I'll probably come back and do another chapter, but that's good. That's it for chapter one. So stay tuned. It's chapter one. I love you.